I hope you all know if I'm severely bad at this, then I haven't done commentary in like in months. If there's any issues with the audio, then just let me know. Because to be honest, for me, like, the game volume is so loud. Yeah, okay. I can change that. Through the power of... Oh, I'm going to turn it down. That's like the lowest it's probably going to go. I think it's partly because of my F1 game, actually, I don't know. Ah, here you go. That should be a little bit better. I think it was... I had like the full volume on like the max. You can tell I literally never play this game. I think I bought it and then just never never picked it up again. It's so like so bad in comparison to some of the older games, in my opinion, but you know, I respect people who like this one. Just deal JG, you know the deal. Just deal JG, you know the deal. Yeah, I think the last time I did this is going to be some context, you know, an origin story of bingo. I think the last time I commentated was F2RS. That was like a Formula 2 league back in 2023. Me and FP1 Will partnered together. That was such a good league, man. Honestly, it was a real shame that went under, but league racing was taking a hit massively then because the F1 22 game was just even worse than this. I'd say it was terrible. It's nice to see that leagues like this exist. You know, I've watched this league on the side for a little while. And I always kind of said, "Oh, I'm there in the wings if you want me to commentate," but I didn't think it would ever actually happen because there's quite a few. Oh, I got a new follower. Oh, that's very cute. Thank you. Hello. Welcome. German. Oh, we like a bit of diversity on the stream. I think I saw you in the chat. Are you driving tonight or? See, the thing is, when I commentate, the one thing that I'm always bricking it the most about is, well, two things actually. One is completely messing up the pronunciation of someone's name. Ah, Miku. Oh, oh, did you? You're the guy who messed up his his nationality in the AlphaTauri. Oh, sweet. See now, I yeah. So I'm afraid to pronounce people's names, and also like when there's nothing going on, trying to fill that silence. So what I used to do was I'd research like tons of stupid facts on the track that didn't really matter, but you could sort of fill that. So when in older leagues that I used to commentate on, I used to just like waffle for during most of qualifying because there's always that like those 7 minutes when no one's on track. Just call me Miku. Okay. No problem. Lights out and Lewis is one. Now, bro, that's you're living in 2020. Oh wait, no, Lewis is in. Oh yeah, hang on. Why do I think Lewis Hamilton then? Oh, do you know what? That's the one mistake I'm making for this whole stream now. I got it out of the way. I have not seen Lewis race in a very long time, but apparently he's got ridiculously good. I mean, I'm looking at the results and they're quite damning. Oh, bro, I'm rooting for you, honestly. You seem like a chill guy. AlphaTauri masterclass. Why has AlphaTauri been so good in this league? Like, I remember in season 1, they were just unstoppable. I mean, that's because you had the man, the myth, Dill JG as part of the team. Man, how many drivers we're actually getting today as well. Yeah, honestly, I think this league's so cool. Like, genuinely. I watch the social media and everything all the time. I love it. Yeah, of course, mate. Of course you can. I hope my voice isn't very annoying. I hope it's lovely to use in an edit. Unfortunately, I am from Northern England, so you know I've not really got the most pleasant British voice ever. British, yeah, accent, I suppose. To be honest, I hope Lewis doesn't just run away with it, but I think the fact that Rapid isn't here is going to be a game changer because genuinely I don't know where he gets so much pace, but he's absolutely unbelievable. Like I used to race with him like for 2 years in separate leagues, and it was just he was unbelievable from day one. Genuinely one of the scariest drivers ever. So it's good to see that we're getting a week without him, so that the competition can open itself up. What about me? Bro, you're washed now. You're washed. That was it. Ever since season 3 ECR, you've been on a decline. No, I'm joking. Yes, because you can't decide whether you want to do controller or wheel. That's why. So crap now. Don't get along with the game. Oh, real bro. Honestly, you wonder why I retired. That's exactly why I retired. For like a year. Now I'm coming back. Yes, facts. 2020, bro. Honestly, the best F1 game they ever made. So good that it was flawless. Doing leagues in lockdown, that was peak. Right, this is the part where I've got to like get dead serious. Are you ready for this, guys? It's like serious bingo. I'm gonna have to use my real name as well. I'm gonna get doxed. Let's pretend to clean the throat. Also had no life in 2020. Nobody did, bro, honestly. We were all, like, stuck indoors. There was nothing else to do. That's why I started League Racing anyway, because I was that bored. I was like, oh, do you know what? I can, like, dominate online racing. Hello everyone, welcome to Virtual Racing Project. It's an F1 league in its fourth season now. We're into round 4 at the Algarve International Circuit, better known as Portimao, for the Portuguese Grand Prix. I'm your host, Josh Bingham. You're not usual commentator for this league, however, I'm subbing in for one day to replace Adam, I believe his name is. So, thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all having a wonderful evening, wonderful morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And let's just enjoy a nice bit of league racing on this Tuesday night. And just waiting for cars to come out on track. Portimao, of course, one of the fastest tracks on the calendar. And the championship's been heating up in the first 3 rounds. We've currently got Rapid XJR12, who is not here today. He's not present during this race. He's second in the championship, just 9 points behind the current championship leader, Lewis2307, who just won out recently in Baku round 3. And we've got a couple of cars coming out on track at the moment, a 19-car grid, excellent attendance today. And Quinton Gaming is one of those on the outlap in the Alpine. So the Portimao circuit is 4.6 kilometres long, just in case you wanted that very small fact, which it probably has not little relevance really. Two DRS zones, one of course on the main straight and one from turns 4 till turn 5, 15 corners. And this is widely regarded as a track that is very difficult because of its elevation change rapidly, very much Spa suffers a very similar issue, so tyre degradation is going to be quite high. And we follow Quinton Gaming on his very first flying lap here in the Alpine. And Alpine haven't had the best starts of the season, it must be said. They've only scored 5 points in the first 3 rounds. They currently stand last in the championship, and Alpine never particularly has been one of the high-ranking teams in this league, so potentially could we see Alpine pick up a couple more points today. All teams have scored points in the championship so far, but Alpine with significantly less. We've got Lewis as well on a flying lap as well, down into turn 1, just trying to keep it within the track limits. Ferrari currently leading the Constructors' Championship as well as he invalidates his lap time. And there is a yellow flag. All the cars are now coming out on track. Got the Alfa Romeos out, as well as Disputed Cloud sets the first lap of 1.17.1 on the soft compound tyre. That's a good time that for Portimao. Quinton Gaming comes across the line, 1.17.6, just 5 tenths behind on Disputed Cloud. Has a time meanwhile, a 1.18.6. Has a time well known for scoring points regularly, quite consistent driver. Could we potentially see him coming into P10 or P9 once again? And that's Miku. Miku is out. And has he crashed? I can't seem to see if he's crashed there. And it looks like he's retired within the pit lane. We've got a caution in Sector 2 there with one of the Red Bulls as Dill JG comes across the line at 1.16.2, just ahead of Tim. Harry 3-3 across the line, 1.17.1, just slightly above Disputed Cloud. TTV there getting in 4th place as well for Mercedes. Dammers 1.17.5 for Haas. So Dill JG and Tyler are the only two, as well as Tim, to be in the 1 minute 16s there on the soft compound tyre. So a lot of drivers running those softs early on to potentially book themselves an early place in to the top spots. And we have got quite a few reserves out today. I believe there is about 5 or 6 reserves that are currently racing with us today. A lot of the full-timers unavailable for this Grand Prix. So this could really swing anyway in terms of the Constructors' Championship. A lot of points on the line. And for the full-time drivers that are present, this is a great opportunity to make moves up in the Championship. Or for Lewis especially to extend his lead in the Championship. As we're currently waiting on him to make a lap, and he has unfortunately invalidated his lap yet again, the number 3 car there, as we can see. As we start to see drivers coming into the pits now, and this is usually the part where the track gets empty. We don't tend to see many cars out on track towards the middle of the session before the very final few minutes where the track temperature is much higher, the tyres are rubbered down, and we start to see lots of flying laps coming through. Just as Sizewell, that's Daniel Roos, setting a 1:17.8 there for Williams. Not a bad lap overall. These are some pretty decent times so far, but Dale JG still remains at the top, just 2 tenths ahead of Tyler as we wait on some of the higher up drivers as well to still set a time, such as Lewis. Miku, R1 retirement, not sure what happened there particularly. A tradition of a new league, starting from the back. Nothing wrong with starting with last on the grid, mate. You'll do absolutely excellent, I'm sure. As we're starting to see some of the drivers who haven't set a time yet. Darth FIFA, one of the reserves I was talking about, subbing in for Bino Bentel, who's been quite the scourge in the midfield so far this season. He was very much just close to getting the round 1 victory in Shanghai against Rapid XJR12, but narrowly missed out across the line. It was a really heartbreaking moment for him, but he's been on great form. But unfortunately, McLaren will not have him today. Darth FIFA is coming in place for him. Will be looking to make an impression. Azalba Drake just smashes into the wall, and he's out. Just come off the bat of setting a 1:18.4, crashes into the wall, and he is out of qualifying. That is quite extraordinary. So that is 2 retirements in qualifying now. As has a time 44, just wanting to make another lap in, trying to put a dent within the middle of the pack. As we wait for him to come across the line. And I believe he'll just be starting his main lap now as he's set a 1:20.8. Lewis also out on the track, on an out lap, as we have a Hero Rod, I'm going to call him. Trying to learn some of these names are always interesting. We have the Mercedes coming around the final few corners down towards turn 15. DRS detection zone coming up with the rear wing flap flying open here. And we wait to see what time he'll be able to produce. As he goes 4th fastest, 1:16.8, just 16 hundredths of a second behind LMB Strikes. So Lewis 2307 on a flying lap now. This is the man that we're all watching, the championship leader, the one who's got to defend his current holding of the trophy, as there is a caution in Sector 2, as I believe that's one of the Aston Martins who's come off the track. And I believe that might be LMB Strikes or Harry Free as he gets held up. Oh, and he's crashed into him as well. So Lewis gets impeded on his qualifying lap, and I believe that was Dark Alter in the Alpha Tauri, the number 66 car, impedes Lewis's 3rd attempt at a flying lap. And Lewis smashes into him there. Not very sportsmanlike of him from either driver. So Dark also holding him up, clearly didn't see him. Lewis reacting quite frustratingly, and that is quite dramatic. In the midst of qualifying, so Lewis will be looking to try and go again, potentially going into the pits. It doesn't look like he's got any wing damage. I can't see any end plates coming off. Hopefully he hasn't picked up any, but that was a massive impediment on what looked to be initially quite a decent lap. As he is coming into the pits, so he has likely got damage. As Darth FIFA, meanwhile, is also on a flying lap. He's the only other driver that is currently still in the session not to have set a lap. And we watch to see the McLaren driver see if he can, as a reserve, see if he can pick up a nice position here. Dill JG, of course, on provisional pole. This comes through the elevation change in Portimao. It's just incredible to witness. Coming down into Sector 3 now. There's a lot of traffic up ahead. Hopefully he does not get impeded as well, as we see Harry 3-3 up ahead, getting like by the Williams, as Darth FIFA comes around the final corner, and he is coming into the pits. He's not going to set a time. That was quite anticlimactic, must be said. As Tyler, meanwhile, is on another flying lap, he'll be looking to see if he can find those extra 0.2 of a second to see if he can just climb ahead of Dill JG, who is currently the man to beat. As I think Lewis 2307 is coming out the pits once again. That's a purple Sector 1 for Tyler. Great lap already. There is a little bit of traffic to go. We've got the Haas up ahead, as well as one of the Alpines as well, that are just ahead as we come into the uphill section of turn 8. Down into turn 9, fast left-hander coming through Sector 2, and that was very nearly a crash there, and the Haas clearly didn't move out the way properly. Tyler just breathes a sigh of relief, likely wipes the sweat off of his forehead. That was very close, very cutthroat, and there has been quite a few situations here already in this qualifying session where we've seen cars that aren't on a flying lap get awfully close to the ones who are as well. As Tyler comes around the final corner, this looks to be what would have been a brilliant lap, but ends up pitting instead. Clearly not worth it afterwards. So a lot of drivers abandoning their flying laps, as Lewis 2307 comes out on his outlap again. All eyes on him. All eyes on Darth FIFA as well, to see what he can produce. He is yet to set a qualifying lap as well. Lewis on the soft compound tyres. This is a fourth time's the charm, they say, as he tries to finally set a qualifying time and to put himself somewhere on the grid other than 17th place. He's got a clear track in his vision, as likely we're going to start seeing cars coming out around the 4th minute mark, as Lewis now with a clear track in front of him, track more rubbered down as well, start this flying lap. Down into turn 1 we go, and that is a lovely corner, not exceeding track limits this time, through into third 3. It's all neat and tidy so far, going into turn 4 here through Sector 1. As it goes through the DRS detection zone, the rear wing flap now open, and it is a purple Sector 1 going through into Sector 2, turn 6. And this is a brilliant neat and tidy lap, just using enough of the curb, maximising those apexes. Going into turn 8, this is a corner where you lose a lot of traction. He doesn't seem to, as he just spins off track and he hits the wall and he's out! I cannot believe I've just cursed that. I cannot believe it. And Lewis will start near last on the grid towards the back of the pack, and it looked to be a brilliant flying lap. It was a purple Sector 1, and just when I say you lose all traction in turn 8, I thought he didn't for a moment, but he just had a bit of oversteer and lost all traction, went straight into the wall. Nothing he could do there, a sitting duck, and it has really been an unlucky qualifying session for Lewis 2307, who, the championship leader, will have to start towards the back of the grid. And that is quite some drama here in Algarve. As Dil JG, meanwhile, the provisional pole sitter, and he'll be very pleased to see that, it must be said. He's now thinking this is my time to take pole position here for the first time this season. As we've got 3 minutes left in qualifying, a lot of cars showing up on track now. As there's Daniel Roos there, who was on a lap initially, must have abandoned it due to a nasty Sector 1. The two Alpines, meanwhile, currently lying in 13th and 14th. They're currently not having the best qualifying that they would imagine. Time is currently trying to set a lap, and it's so close between that midfield. Barely a tenth just separating, barely a couple tenths separating them all in the 117s. And it has been a really tight qualifying so far. Darfifa out on a flying lap as well. As we follow on for Time, who just comes round the fast left-hander of turn 9, down into turn 10. Down into 4th gear, just maximising those gears as well as he can in the uphill section. There is a car up ahead. That looks to be one of the, I believe that's the Williams there, who lets him by just nicely. Good to see. There was plenty of sportsmanship there. And down through the final couple of corners onto the main straight. Can Time find himself into the top 10 here? This might be one of the last opportunities he gets. And he does go 9th fastest. That's a great lap from Time, and just narrowly behind TTV in the Mercedes. And he'll be frustrated at the fact that he's just narrowly missed out on 8th, but it's much better than where he was previously. As we've got Dylan James GP out on track as well, the infamous number 76. He's currently invalidated his lap time, so hopefully he'll be looking to make amends to that in his final qualifying run, as it's now or never for a lot of these drivers, as the pack is really bunching up now all across the track. It's now or never for all of them to get one final lap in. Darfifa, meanwhile, is about to set his first lap. So many of these are about to start their final. He's starting his first and his final. Darfifa there into the first sector. It's 21.6, not too bad to start off with, as we'll soon see him pop up on the timesheets as we follow Dil JG here going down the pit straight, and he is currently the man that they're all trying to beat at this moment, with Lewis out of the equation. And that is a lovely turn 1 and 2. Great first couple corners from Dylan James for Dil JG. I keep on making mistakes with his name, I do apologise. As can he improve in Sector 1? He hasn't so far, he's just by a tenth. And it isn't the fastest Sector 1 yet, but he is improving on his lap time there. As down through Sector 2 we go. And this track is just so fast, it's so punishing on the tyres. And I'm just going to enter the telemetry there as well. His fuel is running low. His Darfifa out of nowhere just goes faster than his teammates. And Tyler is also has just retired. I think he's crashed as well in Sector 2. And it's looking to be a front row lockout for McLaren. Incredible scenes here in Portimao, as Dil JG will be looking to retake pole position here, as we have reached the checkered flag. Many drivers. Leroy there in 4th for Haas. What a great result for him. 5th and 6th for the Aston Martins at the moment. Dylan James GP crossed the line, and he does go on pole. A 1:16.0 for Dil JG, and he looks to have locked out qualifying there on pole position, and it's a front row lockout for McLaren unless any of these guys can improve. LMB Strikes is coming round the final few corners. Hero Rod there, a 1:16.6, not enough to get himself anywhere towards the front row. He'll start 5th on the grid, as LMB Strikes getting right up to the wall there, and he goes 4th fast, just pips Leroy. Harry 3-3 also comes behind his teammate there, and he will cross the line and stay 7th. Blaze Tim, meanwhile, is the only man yet to set a time, yet to reach checkered flag, and he goes 8th fastest. What a qualifying that was then. A McLaren front row lockout for you, ladies and gentlemen. Here in Portimao, Dil JG maximised on Lewis not setting a time, and he goes pole position. And Darfifa, the dark horse of this session, Looks set another time, didn't get ahead of Dylan there. But he manages to secure the front row lockout for McLaren on his reserve day. That is brilliant. From the McLaren team, let's just run you through the starting grid then. Dil JG starts on pole position. It's a McLaren front row lockout with Darfi for the Belgian just starting second. It's Tyler for Williams in third with LMB Strikes fourth for Aston Martin. Leroy the Dutchman fifth for Haas. Hero Rod there for Mercedes. In sixth, Harry 3-3, the other Aston Martin. In seventh, Blaze Tim, the only Ferrari to be into the top 10 after Lewis's crash in qualifying. He starts 8th. Dammers in the Haas starts 9th. Yannick Wheel rounds off the top 10. And this race has been blown wide open here. And quite ironically, Dil JG was claiming he's washed, was claiming he's slow. He certainly proved everyone wrong there. As we await for the real action, the main event, the race. How's that, mate? Absolutely biblical. Absolutely biblical. Never had a doubt. Definitely didn't call you washed before the stream. Now we await for the game to actually load at a reasonable time so we can get racing. It's a lovely sunny day here in Portimao, no rain in sight. Sun is out, blue skies are appearing, and it looks to be a fairly dry race overall. Doesn't seem to be any wet weather inbound, although I could have commentators cursed that. As it'll be 33 laps of racing here in Portimao as they start the formation lap. Sorry. So the big story: McLaren lock out the front row there. Darth FIFA making joining as a reserve, and he's already making quite the sizable impression. Dil JG meanwhile is starting on pole position as Quinton and Zauberdrache get disqualified. I'm assuming they've collided there, as they will unfortunately suffer cold tyres then on the race start back in 16th, 17th. And Lewis 2307, the real shocker qualifying, starts only 18th. Ended up invalidating two of his qualifying times, was impeded by Dark Altar. That'll likely get reported later on and reviewed by the stewards. And he ended up crashing on his fourth flying lap attempt, which looked to be really promising, but in turn 8 lost all traction on his rear tyres and unfortunately crashed in the wall. Miku was another man who did end up crashing, the number 51. The German ended up retiring early on in the race, as well as Zauberdrache, who we ended up actually witnessing crashing as well, as he smashed into the wall just on the pit exit after setting his time. So for Red Bull and for Ferrari, it's been a pretty dismal weekend already. As we just await for Dil JG to come across the line, TTV and has time as well there, just getting disqualified as well, likely for a collision. So there already has been, it's already been getting a bit bump and scrape across the grid here, as all the drivers just trying to get their the tyres warm enough. As we can see, Dil JG just ahead of the pack there, getting as much warmth into them tyres as he can. Temperature on the race start is so important going into turn 1, and a lot of drivers will be wanting to take it easy going into turn 1. It's quite a fast right-hander, for a couple corners up until turn 3, where turn 3 will be one of the key overtaking spots in the first lap and most of the race. As we await for the 5 lights to come on. It's 5 lights here in Portimao for VRP round 4, and it's lights out, and away we go. We watch on Dylan James GP on the start, and Darth FIFA is already getting extremely close. Down into turn 1, he's going to challenge him into turn 1 there, and it gets super close there. I believe that's LMV Strikes, who might have just had a bit of a collision, and there is M-plates flying everywhere. Sizewell having a really difficult start there in 12th. There's cars off the track, and I believe that's Zauberdrache, who must have had a collision there, but it's still JG, who leads the way, and it's 3 wide, going into turn 4. It's turn 5, sorry, and it's still JG who just holds ahead. Tyler gets himself up into 2nd place, down through turn 7. And Darth FIFA will be looking for a move to make, as we can see. Blaze Tim, who's had an excellent start here. Started, I believe, 8th on the grid. He's now up to 5th. Yannick Wheel there making moves at the pack as well. He's just got past the Aston Martin of Harry Free. The 2 Hasses there in the top 10 as well. And it's mostly clean at the start there. Dill JG will have had a perfect start there as he leads the pack away through lap 1. He has survived. And the 2 Hasses swapping round there a little bit. They're having a lovely little tussle here, as Leroy is getting picked off by TTV. They're going to be side by side through turn 14 and 15. And it does just get a little bit close there as TTV runs wide, and Leroy will be going into the pit lane. I don't know if he has damage or not. And Darth FIFA losing a position on the start. He looked to be challenging for the lead for a moment going into turn 1. And it was 3 wide through turn 5, down the hairpin. And it was Tyler who managed to capitalise and take 2nd place. He'll now be challenging Dill JG there for the lead once DRS opens. And just look at him there, trying to get the clean air to his car. Lewis 2307, meanwhile, having a quiet start. He currently stands in 17th. If we had moves through the midfield, as TTV just gets 11th ahead of Dark Alta, who had the collision with Lewis in qualifying. So all quiet on the western front now. Here in Algarve, Bill JG currently leading the pack. He's currently setting the fastest lap so far, as Tyler not able to make a response yet, waiting for the DRS to open. And TTV and Sizewell, meanwhile, are in a close fight. There we go. Down through turn 14. It looks like TTV's going to try it round the outside. Down the main straight. It gets very hairy there. There is a little bit of a collision, and it's happened again with TTV. He goes wide down the main straight. DRS now is enabled, and we've got lots of battling going on here, as Quinton Gaming is also trying it on Sizewell. He manages to capitalise on the collision, and Dark Alta as well getting involved. There's 4 abreast here going into turn 4, and it ultimately is Quinton Gaming who gets the position, and for Sizewell it is the cul-de-sac, as he looks to have had a little spin as well. And Sizewell has been spun round. I'm not sure what happened there with the collision, as I just moved away for a moment. He's likely had a collision with some of the midfield, and he is down to 18th. It has been a nightmare start for Daniel Ruse. Still JG, meanwhile, still remains in the lead, and the fight for 10th position at the moment is extremely feisty, especially with DRS enabled, as Dammers will be very pleased to know that there is a large gap behind him for him to be able to challenge Harry with DRS, and he is just going to do that there. What a lovely little move that's shaping up to be. Harry couldn't even fight it. On the soft compound tyres there is Dammers getting ahead of Harry Free on the medium tyre. That is a great overtake, and he should get DRS there as well. And it's Harry that actually gets it. Instead, Harry not being able to make a challenge from so far back. And Disputed Cloud goes into the pits. Coming off the soft tyre, not sure if he's got damage there. And he's changing, I believe, onto the mediums there. Yes, he is. Onto the medium compound tyre for Disputed Cloud, so he will not likely be making a pit stop, potentially, till the very end to go back onto the softs. So unless he's going for the long strat to try and keep that going. So it's Tyler who's managed to take the lead as well there. And Dill JG will be looking to make a response here, going onto the main straight when the DRS detection zone is reached. And just here is Dill JG. And he is getting right up close. A little mistake there from Tyler. A little bit of oversteer. And the DRS detection point will be reached. As we can see, Blaze Tim there having a little fight with Yannick Wheel and LMB Strikes. As all eyes on Dill JG here to potentially retake the lead of the Grand Prix. And he is gaining, he's gaining. Down through the main straight, onto turn 1. Tyler can't fight that with no DRS. And Dill JG makes it look easy there, going into turn 1. McLaren retakes the lead as we've got fighting with Miku, who has started last on the grid, and he's up to 11th. Just a position, a couple seconds behind Dark Elta, his teammate. So another reserve driver who's really making an impact here, the number 51 car. And the pack is all getting bunched up, and I'm sure Darth FIFA will be looking to potentially retake second place with the help of his teammate who's retaking the lead. And advantage McLaren at the moment, as Lewis as well making progress there, up to 15th place after a couple pit stops. And the main fight at the moment is between this top 5, so close, a tenth, less than half a tenth within each other. As LMB Strikes will be looking to potentially get a podium position here, as well as Blaze Tim, who is currently the only one in the points for Ferrari right now, who are having a nightmare weekend overall. As Blaze Tim not able to catch Dill JG as significantly, but Darth FIFA is right on his rear here, as DRS is about to open Dill JG under pressure from Tyler. Is he going to potentially make a move into turn 1? He doesn't seem close enough. And he doesn't go for the move, as LMB Strikes getting particularly close behind Darth FIFA as well. And McLaren currently stand third in the championship going into this race. Of course, not having Bino, who has been the main point scorer this season so far. And it doesn't seem to be bothering them particularly, as McLaren look to overtake Red Bull and potentially overtake Ferrari, depending on where Lewis finishes, and they could take the lead of the Constructors' Championship. It's getting extremely close there. Yannick Wheel just keeping close by, as well as Hero Rod, before then Harry and Dammers soon follow behind. As Quinton Gaming looks to have made a move, and that's TTV who's off again. And he's into the barrier there. No, he's not into the barrier. He's off the track on the grass, and I believe he must have had a collision with Quinton Gaming. And he doesn't seem to have any significant damage onto that car. It potentially was a tap on his rear wheel, which has caused him to spin off. But here comes Tyler this time around. He's much closer now, right on the rear of Dill JG. Dylan won't be able to fight it here, as he tries to keep by him. Going into turn 1, TTV's left session, and Tyler retakes the lead for Williams. But Dylan is not going to let this go easy. He's going to have another attempt going into turn 4 here with DRS, as we watch on for the two race leaders scrapping it out here for maximum championship points this weekend. As Dylan just easing to the left there, trying to see if he can find a gap. Can't seem to make it work from that far behind. And it is awfully scrappy within those top 5, as TTV of course has left the session as well. He's down in 16th. And Darth FIFA meanwhile just biding his time there in 3rd place, looking to potentially, try and take the lead of this race. Of course, there will be an element of him wanting to be a team player here for McLaren, get the points, help his teammate out, who is of course a full-time driver. But another part of him, I'm sure, will be thinking, I could potentially win this race here, and I could potentially, go for it, even on Dylan. As Tyler's made quite the sizable gap, but look at how close the McLarens are now. As Darth FIFA looking to potentially take 2nd place off of his teammate. This is not what McLaren will be wanting. No team orders here. As Darth FIFA gets extremely close, he's going to go side by side with his teammate potentially here. The DRS train just providing a bit of a chink in the armour. As Dill JG gets through as well. And both McLarens get him. Both McLarens get Tim, but Tim's going to fight it back. The three abreast here, and the two McLarens though just side by side. Dil JG trying to fight it, and they collide a little bit as well. Darth Vader just on the inside, and he is going to get second place, but Dil JG is still fighting. These two have been side by side for 4 corners now, down into turn 5, and Tyler will be loving this, getting a little gap. Darth Vader just getting ahead of Dil JG, who has to yield to his reserve teammate, and he'll be so frustrated in that car there as he's been backed up right to strikes behind him, as well as Tim. And for Tyler, that was a dream scenario. It almost looked like he was getting picked off by both the McLarens, but he recovered that beautifully, and he now has nearly 1 second of a gap to Darth Vader. He could potentially move out of the DRS detection zone. Advantage Tyler then, advantage Williams, as the two McLarens, not respecting team orders it seems, there seems to be no team orders in the way there, as FIFA just keeping in range of Tyler there to potentially mount a challenge, as he is absolutely going for that standout reserve performance for potentially the race winner Zalba Drake has got a 5-second time penalty, I believe. As all eyes on this top 3 battle. These 3 have been practically inseparable for these first 9 laps, but at the moment it's Tyler who leads the way, unless Darth Vader can try and make a challenge, and it looks like he is going to. Down into turn 5, he moves alongside Tyler, down the inside through turn 5. Is he going to be able to make it stick? There he goes there. Tyler just trying to fight it, and he does keep ahead. Darth Vader not able to compete enough, as down through into turn 7 and 8. And Darth will have to wait likely until the main straight to potentially mount a challenge again. Not a lot of overtaking opportunities here in Portimao, particularly turns 1, 2, 3, 5 and 15 are the main corners which you'd be looking to overtake at, so you've got to make them count, especially DRS. As the top 3 just start to move slightly away from LMB Strikes there, who is trying to keep up with the front runners and is doing well, carrying along Tim and Yannick Wheel as well in that DRS train. As Dil JJ looking to potentially get back past his teammate, thinking I can challenge for the win here as well. I'm not going to stand behind and let a reserve keep in front of me. As they're going to go side by side again, and just blocked there is Darth Vader, who's looking at a move on Tyler, subsequently blocks his teammate, and I'm sure there is going to be a lot of frustration in the cockpit there from Dil JG, who knows he can challenge for this win, as can Darth Vader, but is just struggling behind, can't seem to find a way through with the DRS train that is in place. As Darth Vader gets on the inside though, this could potentially be for the race lead here, and we'll watch from Dil JG's perspective. Tyler fighting hard here through turn 7. You don't often go for overtakes around turn 7 and turn 8, but they're still side by side here, going through the uphill section. Downhill we go, and there's a little collision, and Tyler loses out. Darth Vader takes the lead. And the reserve driver and Tyler's going to fight it again. Down into turn 9. It's so scrappy between these two. Dil JG's going to capitalise on it as well. Unbelievable stuff. And you just can't seem to separate these 3. Dil JG takes the lead again. And I've got to stop because my throat is drying up so badly. This is unbelievable. This is absolutely brilliant racing from these 3. Really right down to the wire, not giving each other an inch of room in the fight for top points here. They know how important this race is, as Tyler's going to go for it again here, as he just collides with Darth Vader, and Vader gets the lead there, but just slightly, Dil JG slightly goes off the track. An advantage on Vader again. It is a McLaren 1-2, and they're just fighting over and over again in every corner that they can. You don't often go for fights in turn 8. And Darth Vader and Tyler got very close to a very nasty collision there. Nice to see, as Blaze Tim just locks up there. Does have a little collision with Yannick Wheel. Yannick Wheel could have potentially taken a bit of damage, if not then Rod as well. A little bit of bunching up there from Blaze Tim in the number 12 car, as once again it all quietens down just slightly until the main DRS straight, as Dil JG hungry to retake the lead as well. The man who started on pole position and So far, the two McLarens have swapped around since lap 1 of this race. As still JG just biding his time there on those medium compound tyres. As all of the top 5 are on the mediums at the moment, they're all for longer stints. Yannick Wheel is likely, although he's got the pace at the moment, those tyres are going to wear out very quickly. As Dill JG getting right up to Darth FIFA. FIFA is basically defenceless and down into turn 1. Dill JG retakes the lead as Dammers gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as Darth FIFA thought about going for it there. Just couldn't find the room there into turn 3. As DRS wide open for FIFA again. We know that he's good for bold moves here down in Portimao, and he's not gone for it this time here. He's going to wait. He's going to bide his time potentially behind his teammate, thinking about tyre wearage as these three have been pushing so hard these past couple of laps. As Lewis making moves up the field there, down in 13th position. He'll be looking to salvage whatever position he can after a nightmare Tuesday night so far. And so far, advantage still JG once again, and it'll get very interesting. I'm very curious to see what happens during the pit window. Of course, a lot of these from all the top 5 on the medium compound tyres. I can get that exactly for you there. So most of the pack on mediums, except Yannick Wheel and Zauber Drake, who will likely be getting a bit of worry. Just Darth FIFA there, going down the inside on Dill JG, and he retakes the lead. As Dill JG will be looking to go for a move, potentially into turn 5, and that DRS is so powerful that it just leaves the race leader absolutely defenceless, and there is nothing separating these, as Dill JG just can't seem to get in, went a bit wide on the exit of turn 4, couldn't utilise that DRS advantage. And LMB Strikes, Blaze Tim, and the rest of the pack just keeping up very nicely to these top 3. Potentially, if there is an accident, they could find themselves in a podium position or even challenging for the race win. This is what we love about VRP. It's close competition, and it is absolutely delivering today with such a wild grid that we've got on our hands at the moment. And Dill JG just two tenths of a second behind Darth FIFA. And he is just biding his time, waiting for that DRS to open up again, to potentially go yet again here. And I could just watch this all night. It's been absolutely brilliant racing to watch so far. As has a time there as well. Into the top 10, he's on hard tyres, as Dill JG dives into the pits. And is he potentially going for the early pit stop, or has he got wing damage? As we watch on here. As so far so good for Darth FIFA as he goes onto the hard tyres. So Dill JG being the first to really open the pit window, clearly with a lot of worrage there, as we are moving towards where pit stops might start coming into play. As a couple drivers already pitting at the moment. Yannick Wheel as well though going into the pits. Came off the soft tyres after a brilliant 13 lap stint. Goes now onto the hard tyres. Zauber Drake meanwhile goes onto the mediums. As we watch on here to see if either Darth FIFA or Tyler will potentially go into the pits, or even LMB Strikes or Tim. Not to forget them, they are still very much within contention for this race lead if they can find a way through. Tim being essential to Ferrari's point scoring this weekend, as neither appear to be jumping into the pits. So Dill JG has absolutely gone for the rogue strategy on this case, essentially trying to warm up them hard tyres, which will take a lap or two, and potentially do the undercut on Darth FIFA, whose tyres will definitely be getting a lot more worn. As Tyler really getting close now to Darth FIFA here. The reserve driver putting in an excellent effort there, leading this race. Tyler just not able to make an impact there yet in the Williams, and I'm sure tyre wearage will definitely become a factor. A lot less grip available for all cars there, apart from the ones who have pitted. And meanwhile, there's a little scrap there. Leroy just managing to get ahead of Dark Alter there, who's just come into the pits recently, will have likely very cold tyres indeed. Still waiting to be rubbered down on. As we await to see potentially, is this going to be the lap that either of the front runners will respond to Dil JG, who currently stands in 9th position, just ahead of Yannick Wheel. He's currently catching Hazard Time, who's had 14 laps on those hard tyres. As Darth FIFA does not respond to the call, neither does any of the rest of the top 5. Harry Free Free, neither. Miku as well, having a brilliant race so far. He's currently in 7th place after starting last on the grid. He's currently on the medium tyres as well, has been for the majority of the race. Let's move on to lap 16 now as Tyler retakes the lead. Apologies for not being able to show you that, as there is an awful lot of action going on in the track at the moment. So at the moment, McLaren look at the best position to take a lot of points here. This would really help them in the fight for the Constructors' Championship, with Red Bull not looking to take any points at all here, with only Zauberdrake at the moment, who currently stands in 17th place, having quite a dismal race, it must be said. And meanwhile, you've got Ferrari, who only have Tim currently in the points, and Lewis, who is in 17th place at the moment. He's just come in the pits for fresh medium tyres. Started on the mediums, he's now gone onto a fresh set of mediums, down in 18th place. So for McLaren, this looks like a dream scenario to potentially take 2nd place and get even closer to Ferrari at the top of the table. So it's suddenly calmed down now a little bit as we wait for the top. Oh, hang on, there is a little fight going on here. Down the outside, the Darth FIFA going for the race lead. The 2 reserves fighting it out. May I remind as well that Tyler is yet another reserve as well for Williams today, and both of these are putting in an astounding effort here. And the reserves are really showing up here in Portimao. They've been performing absolutely brilliant. The same with LMB Strikes there, who is also one of our reserves today, with Blaze Tim being the highest full-timer at the moment currently in the race order. So Darth FIFA retakes the lead of this race, and I'm sure a lot of these drivers will be approached by teams going into the transfer market potentially for next season, or even earlier than that, as these are some really great talents. Just showing the amount of talent that VRP can attract and produce, respectively. So Dil JG, meanwhile, currently up into 7th place there. The highest running driver, who is on the hard compound tyres, 3-lap-old hards, and they will definitely be heated up now as times look to be improving. As all eyes, and there is a yellow flag there, and I believe that is the Red Bull. That was Zauberdrake there, I believe, who had a little off. As there is a couple more pit stops. Rod there, having a little pit stop down in 9th place. He's gone onto the hard tyres as well, finally responding. Dammers, meanwhile, has been overtaken by Harry Free Free, who is on 1-lap-old hards. Sorry for the tongue twister there. He currently moves up into 9th place. So Darth FIFA, meanwhile, leads the way here. He's got a sizable gap compared to what we've been used to this race, and it's been so close, so cutthroat throughout this race. DRS has been essential to overtakes, going particularly into turn 1 and turn 5. And Tyler just 8 tenths behind. It seems that the wearage on those tyres is starting to have an impact on him, as just slightly keeping in DRS range, but Darth FIFA has been putting in the laps recently, as he manages to just keep himself up ahead in the lead. So Dil JG, meanwhile, has promoted himself up to 6th place, as has Miku, who is 12 seconds behind Tim and the rest of the front runners. So Dylan about 16 seconds behind about where Darth FIFA is. 16 to 20 seconds. And approximately a pit stop lasts about, I'd say about 20, 21 seconds, 22. Here at Portimao, so potentially Dylan could look for the undercut if he continues the pace that he's got at the moment. That's likely why Darth FIFA is really putting in the work at the moment. He could potentially be coming into the pits any time now here on lap 19 with those 18-lap-old medium tyres. All eyes on really the top 5, particularly the top 4. Darth FIFA, Tyler, LMB Strikes and Tim, to see when they're going to come into the pits. As the hard compound runners from 6th downwards are really putting in the times at the moment. As Darth FIFA does look to be coming in the pits, he is. That was why he was pushing so hard. Into the pits he comes. Tyler does not respond in time as LMB Strikes does, Blaze Tim does, and Tyler is the one man who didn't go into the pits. Going on the alternate strategy, potentially didn't expect Darth FIFA to come into the pits, and will expect FIFA to likely go onto as he goes onto the softs. Darth goes onto the softs, Tim goes onto the softs as well. LMB Strikes, meanwhile, goes onto the hard tyres, and that is a very interesting strategy from the reserve driver. One McLaren on the hards, the other on the softs, and the question is he going to be able to make that last until the end of the race? It must be said that Portimao is very tough on tyres, particularly on the front right tyre as well. So onto the soft compound tyre for Tim, who falls down to 8th, and Darth FIFA, who falls to 4th, Dil JG, and Yannick Wheel managing to undercut both of them. The undercut was a success for Dylan as he's 17 seconds behind Tyler and is likely going to undercut him as well to take the lead of the race once more, as Tyler has to respond now to potentially come into the pits. I'll be very shocked if he doesn't make his pit stop now. The question is, what tyre is he going to go on? As he does come into the pits, and all eyes now on Tyler. We know that Dil JG will retake the lead. He gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He couldn't slow down in time. Disputed class at his fastest lap meanwhile. And Tyler has potentially got a really harming penalty that could potentially damage his chances of this race victory, as he also goes onto the soft. So he's matching Darth FIFA, as Dil JG meanwhile disappears off into the sunlight as he retakes the lead of the Portuguese Grand Prix, as Darth FIFA makes a move meanwhile in the background on Yannick Wheel on those softs, and he's going to have serious pace here. And I'm loving the alternate strategy in this race. Two completely different strategies here. Some going on the hards, some going on the softs, some going on the mediums. All looking to make it till the end of this race, as Hazard Time sets the new fastest lap of 1:19.2, down in 13th place for Alpine. He's on 2-lap-old mediums after starting on the hard tyre. And all eyes on Darth FIFA. He's likely going to be taking that fastest lap, either him or him. Miku, meanwhile, as well, down in 11th. Of course, started last on the grid after not setting a single lap. Didn't even come out of the pit lane and retired. And he's on 1-lap-old softs at the moment, challenging his teammate to potentially go into the points. Another one of our reserves here in the AlphaTauri. As all eyes on Darth FIFA to see what lap he can produce. He's likely going to take the fastest lap of the race, as the gap at the start of the lap was just 5 seconds between these two. It has now gone down to just 2.9 seconds, and look at how quickly that gap is disintegrating. A 1:18 flat for Darth FIFA. That is a brilliant fastest lap of the race. And the question is, he might have the pace now, but Dil JG, will he potentially have more pace later on the stronger hard compound tyres, which are meant to last a lot longer, but they're already 8 laps old. So this competition could be wide open here, as Tyler manages to get ahead of LMB Strikes. And Blaze Tim as well, making it back into 5th place. Normal service seems to have resumed within the pack, as Miku, meanwhile, going for the move on Dark Altar, down into turn 5. He gets himself into the points. Great move by Miku, the German driver, just managing to take over his teammate, the reserve driver, getting up into 10th, and AlphaTauri in the points. And currently at the moment, there is actually, I believe, there is actually 9 teams that are in the points at the moment. The only team, 8 teams. The only 2 teams that aren't are Alpine, who of course last in the championship, just on 5 points, and Red Bull, who are second in the championship. I believe they've got 50 or 55 points to their name currently. Just to confirm, 50 points McLaren, just 5 points behind that. Williams as well, only 12. So it looks likely that Red Bull could potentially go down to 4th in the championship after this race, as LMB Strikes gets a 5-second penalty, gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. That'll be really impactful on his race result as well. Another reserve driver who's putting in the work here and doing absolutely brilliantly. But Darth FIFA, of course, retaking the lead on those soft tyres. And Dil JG will be extremely frustrated. Has he potentially gone on the wrong strategy here? Has he potentially got it wrong with these hard tyres? And he'll be waiting for those soft tyres to wear off, as Darth FIFA will be pushing extremely hard. And what a reserve performance this has been from Darth FIFA. Coming into reserve for McLaren, nobody really knew how he was going to perform this weekend, but he has really put in the work, as has Tyler as well. Another great reserve, LMB Strikes as well, in that Aston Martin. And a lot of the reserve drivers really doing brilliantly this week here in Portimao. And in terms of the Constructors' Championship, things are ramping up significantly as Darth FIFA breaks into the 1 minute 17s. He is not slowing down anytime soon here. And the soft tyre is still coming alive here as he extends his gap by just 3 seconds to Dil JG. As Tyler, meanwhile, on the soft tyres as well, just 0.4 seconds behind Dil JG, as he's going to have to go on the defensive here as the McLaren driver, as Tim makes it look easy on Dil JG there, and he moves up into 2nd place there, and 2 reserves occupying 1st and 2nd here, as the Williams moves up in 2nd place. Very valuable points for Williams there, who look to potentially overtake Red Bull and go 3rd in the Constructors' Championship as it stands. And one driver we haven't spoken much about recently, Lewis, the championship leader, still not able to respond. He is down 17th in the championship at the moment. And for Dil JG, he'll be looking at this race at the moment. He'll be thinking, have I just squandered the race victory here? There is still less than 10 laps to go here. We're on lap 25 of 33 overall. So about 8 laps to go. And Dil JG will just be waiting patiently to see if those soft tyres will run out of pace just before the end of the race. As Sizewell there, Daniel Roos, just getting a 3-second time penalty for exceeded track limits. He's down at 16th after a collision in the early stages of the race when there was a 4-way fight for 10th place. He hasn't managed to recover. He's on 14 lap old hard tyres. And another problem on Dylan's plate will be Blaze Tim. Tim at the moment is 6th in the championship in comparison to Dil JG in 9th, and despite the massive difference in position, there was just 2 points separating both of them. And Tim at the moment is looking at potentially taking a podium position here. It'll be his first podium of the season, and what a great moment for Ferrari that would be to salvage what has been a pretty dismal week already for them. As Dil JG will be looking behind there, thinking, have I just squandered a podium as well? As Tim getting ever so closer now, going down to the DRS straight, and the rear wing flap will soon open. LMB Strikes just keeping slightly behind there. In DRS range, Dil JG looks defenceless here, not able to keep up with the top 2. As down going into on the pit straight, going into turn 1, Tim looks to go down the inside, and he has made that look extremely easy there. Up into 3rd place, Dil JG, out of the podium positions, and just on the defensive there to LMB Strikes, another reserve there, who is getting very feisty behind Dil JG. He's only on 6 lap old hards, and DilJG could potentially see a loss down to 5th place as well. And while this is still valuable points for DilJG, he will be looking at this and will be kicking himself at the moment, because ultimately it seems he has gotten the strategy wrong. Went for the unconventional hard compound tyre strategy, which a lot of drivers have now begun to follow, as there is a yellow flag in Sector 3, I believe that is the Red Bull. No, it's a Williams actually. It's Sizewell. Sizewell having a little off there. Apologies for my clear colour blindness. Now, if you're Darth FIFA in this situation, you've got a 3-second gap. Now, bear in mind, this is the largest gap we've actually seen all race between first and second, which is just a testimony to how close this competition's been today, between some of these reserves and the old guard of DilJG and Tim as well, who are in a long run here in this championship, trying to get as many points as they can. And for McLaren, they'll be looking a bit frustrated at the fact that they've potentially squandered a 1-2 here, or a double podium. But Darth FIFA has had a brilliant race here, as has Tim, as has Tyler as well. Tyler 3.4 seconds. Darth FIFA will be looking at this and thinking, I can just start to ease off and manage the tyres until the end. He's got 6 laps to go here, as in Sector 1 I believe that's an Alpha Tauri who's gone off its Dark Alta. He's potentially had a spin there. Miku, meanwhile, another reserve driver on 7 lap old softs. He's really making great pace at the moment through the midfield. He's up to 9th place, ahead of Leroy, who's 12 seconds behind him. And he is catching the Alfa Romeo with Yannick Wheel there. And it's been a really topsy-turvy race. We're seeing so many reserves doing well, as I keep on mentioning, and not many of the typical full-timers in the points. Disputed Cloud and Lewis particularly come to mind. Dammers as well has a time. All out of the points, and all these reserves, Darth FIFA, Tyler, LMB Strikes, Miku, all in the top 10 and all taking pretty high points here. As LMB Strikes does also get past DilJG as well. DilJG down in 5th place, as Yannick Wheel fighting Harry there. As we just watch on though, down into turn 1, he had DRS advantage, and he'd been pushing behind Harry for quite some time, and he has made the move, as Miku, meanwhile, catching them at great pace. He was just 2.5 seconds behind a couple corners ago, and he's really catching them now. He'll soon be in DRS range, I'm sure, by the time we get down to the pit straight. And these two still fighting here, just not close enough. And not much of a gap changing at the top of the field there. 3.6 seconds it remains between Darth FIFA and Tyler. And Darth FIFA seems to be very much in control at the moment. Very much, it seems like he's checkmated the rest of the field and may potentially be on for a debut victory in Virtual Racing Project, which would be such a massive achievement, such a competitive league. And it's so hard to be a reserve here, so hard to reserve in and perform at such a high standard that he has. But he has really shown what he's made of. As Zauber Drake has retired, he's had a crash there, and it is a safety car. And Tyler comes into the pits as well. And this safety car, this crash by the Red Bull now definitely getting no points. And look at all the cars behind that are pitting. And have I just commentators cursed it again here? Darth FIFA, his heart will have dropped in that situation, as all these drivers now will be coming on to the soft tyre. As you can see, the red tyres flashing around here, the soft compound tyre on for everyone, and look at how close it's getting between Tim and Tyler, as it looks like Tim has overtaken Tyler in the pit lane. That's brilliant. Ferrari could look to potentially taking the win here, as Darth FIFA will be shaking his head here in dismay. That is absolutely extraordinary. So many drivers all coming into the pits here. Leroy, one of the ones on 27 lap old hards. He'll be super happy to get off of them onto the soft tyre instead. Has the time, meanwhile. The only one who hasn't pitted during the safety car, he's staying out in 7th place. Alpine in desperate need of points. Excuse me. And a great opportunity here for Has time to potentially get some points here. for Alpine, who currently stand last in the championship. And for Aston Martin as well, they're looking en route for double points as Darth Vader does come into the pits here. Now, is he going to have a... It looks like he might just have enough time to get onto those fresh soft compound tyres. The rest of the pack just being backed up a little bit here, as Blaze Tim is holding up the pack quite significantly there under the safety car. Safety car not there yet, as Darth Vader hasn't caught up to it either, and he does get a free pit stop there, and he's onto fresh soft tyres, so the competition is probably wide open here. Darth Vader is virtually on the same wearage of soft tyres as everyone else now, but suddenly the game has levelled. And drivers such as Dill JG will be looking at this and thinking this is a great opportunity to potentially take that race victory, as there is only a couple laps to go here, and Darth Vader will just have to defend with all of his might here to fend off Blaze Tim, to fend off Tyler, LMB Strikes and Dill JG and anyone else who really wants to challenge for just a couple more laps as we wait for the pack to catch up, and we might only get 1 or 2 laps of racing here, as it is an extremely late safety car. Depends how long it'll take for the pack to all catch up. So as it stands at the moment, I can tell you the exact numbers. As it currently stands, Ferrari will lead the Constructors' Championship on 91 points, just 10 points behind McLaren, who will move up to second on 81. Williams will also overtake Red Bull in the Constructors, who will go all the way from second down to fourth. That will not be very pleasing for the full-timers. Such for the full-timer of Rapid XJR12, who couldn't show up today. He'll be looking very frustrated at that result and will be looking to make a difference in the next race. Speaking of the next round, you'll be able to find us on the 16th of April, same time, next Tuesday, for the British Grand Prix. So a lot of drivers at the home race, Rapid XJR12 included Lewis 2307 as well, who hasn't been able to make an impact in the championship today, he might go away pointless in what was a great opportunity for him to potentially extend his lead to Rapid XJR12 in the Drivers' Championship, just 9 points separating them two, in what has been a brilliant dogfight to watch so far this season. As we wait for the pack to catch up, and it is likely we're only going to get potentially one lap of racing, potentially 2 here actually, as the rest of the pack just continues to catch up. Lewis 2307 is the most recent one who is closest to catching up. As the green flag is out, not all the cars have managed to catch up. We're going to get 2 laps of racing here as Darth Vader just holding up the packers. Away we go here for the last 2 laps of the Portuguese Grand Prix, as Rod and Yannick managed to get ahead of Dill JG, who's had a terrible start there, down to 7th. Miku making up positions, Blaze Tim meanwhile, and Yannick wheels out. Yannick Wills had a crash. And I'm not sure who he's crashed with, but he has had a crash there into turn 2. And he is out of the race after such a positive race for him, where he potentially could have picked up great points for Alfa Romeo. And Alfa Romeo looked to be taking no points at all, as Dil JG, I believe, might have wing damage, because he's down to 11th on the grid. He's down to 9th place here. And has he got wing damage, as Dammers gets a 3-second time penalty, and he has got front end plate damage. Look at his front wing there. As it's all safe for Darth FIFA at the moment, who's letting Tyler and Tim battle it out here for second place. This is a really lovely scrap between a reserve and a full-time driver. And Blaze Tim goes off the track, and he's lost multiple positions there. He's gone down from fighting for second, down into 6th place. Not sure what happened there, he might have got pushed off. Miku, meanwhile, last place, down to 5th for AlphaTauri. What a reserve performance that's been from the German. And Rod, meanwhile, the Spanish driver, just looking to potentially get ahead of LMB Strikes here. Another full-time driver up against a reserve. And he's biding his time here to potentially steal what could be an unexpected podium place. As Dil JG is out, he's retired in the pit lane. He will take no points today. And it seems he has given up and he is out of the race. Darth FIFA, meanwhile, on this final lap, 1.3 seconds it seems, unless something serious is going to happen, that nothing is going to stop him from winning this Grand Prix. Just a couple more corners to go now, but Tyler is still very close there, 4 tenths behind, and this could really go down to the wire here. Darth FIFA at the moment seems to be in control, and so many drivers fighting potentially for this podium position as Tyler sent it down the inside. It's now or never for Tyler. Darth FIFA just stays ahead and he's potentially going to challenge it again. Down the inside, what a dive bomb that is. And Tyler spins round and he just about keeps it on track. And Darth FIFA has just managed to defend. And these two have been so close so many times. Wheel-to-wheel action right from start to finish. But the reserve driver for McLaren is going to come across the line. And it is absolute delight for Darth FIFA, who wins the Portuguese Grand Prix in VRP. And Tyler gets second place. A great reserve drive. Rod, out of nowhere, gets third place as well for Mercedes. Miku on his debut gets fourth place for AlphaTauri from last on the grid. Tim will take fifth place. LMB strikes fifth. Leroy in seventh has a time. Picks up points for Alpine, a valuable 4 points. Oh, I need to stop. I cannot speak. What an absolutely beautiful race. Absolutely brilliant. And what a result that is for the reserve driver in McLaren. A valuable 25 points for McLaren as they move up to second in the Constructors' Championship. And there he is. What a race that was. The Belgian driver, I believe the first Belgian driver ever to win in Virtual Racing Project. And I tell you what, Portugal can produce some absolutely incredible results, and it really has this time. Really didn't expect Ronda as well to get into the top three. He gets a podium for Mercedes, really valuable points for him there. And absolutely brilliant. Let's just run through the top 10 there again. Darth FIFA, the Belgian, started second and picks up maximum points here, 26 points overall to get to the fast lap and wins the Portuguese Grand Prix. Tyler there gets second for Williams, another reserve who's managed to pick up a lovely amount of points. Rod there third for Mercedes. Miku on his debut fourth for the German. Tim meanwhile gets fifth for Ferrari, the only points Ferrari will get. They will continue their lead in the Constructors' Championship. LMB Strikes, meanwhile, in 6th place. Leroy 7th, has time 8th. Harry 3-3 in 9th. Disputed Cloud 10th. Aston Martin with double points. And the only team there not to score points was Red Bull. Red Bull, the only team going without points. They will fall down to 4th place in the Constructors' Championship. And I must say, what an absolutely brilliant race to watch. Really enjoyed that. My voice, as you can tell, has gone. but absolutely brilliant. Yeah, really clean, really good racing. Qualifying, lots of drama, and plenty of clean racing. Not many retirements as well that we had. No retirement until lap 28, and a late safety car, which completely changed the dynamic there. Dil JG not getting any points yet again for McLaren, as he will stay with just 12 points on the board so far, out of race 4. A big thank you for Virtual Racing Project for hosting me. I hope that I've been wonderful company to you all. Thank you very much, everyone, for sticking with me through this. I've not done commentary for a while in league racing, and I know it probably wasn't my best day, but I certainly did my best. There was so much action, just a brilliant race to watch, brilliant league, just a complete wildcard round with all the reserves, and ultimately my driver of the day has got to be Tadar FIFA. Just absolutely fantastic race, pretty much perfect. Went for the bold moves. I have to give respect to Tyler for that last ditch effort where he almost got victory after a couple late lunges down into the final couple corners, but ultimately for Dar FIFA it was a perfect weekend. Started second on the grid, won for the very first time in Virtual Racing Project, and what a great result to add to your repertoire to take into the next season. So thank you very much for joining me. That is it for Virtual Racing Project this week. Join us next week on the 16th of April. I can't guarantee that I will be there, but we'll be streaming once again for round 5, the midpoint of the season for the British Grand Prix in Silverstone. That is sure to be a great race. A lot of the full-timers likely returning, potentially a couple of reserves making a reappearance yet again, and of course a track with a great history, the oldest F1 track to ever exist, and also lots of overtaking opportunities with risky weather. So thank you very much, and I shall see you. I'm Josh Bingham, and this was Virtual Racing Project. Thank you very much, guys. See you later.